It started with a single post. Glossy lighting, flawless makeup, that signature confident smile. Meghan Markle did what everyone said she wouldn't. She came back to Instagram, and she did it her way. Dressed in soft pastels, surrounded by a field of golden light, she celebrated International Day of the Girl. The caption was poetic, full of empowerment quotes and polished find your voice energy, the kind of thing her fans eat up. But this time there was something different. The face lighting up the frame wasn't Meghan's. It was her daughter, Lilibet, barefoot, twirling, laughing, front and center for the entire world to see. Within minutes, the internet exploded. Fans flooded the comments with hearts and praise. But behind closed doors, one person wasn't celebrating: Prince Harry. Hours earlier, that same man had been on stage condemning social media companies for exploiting children. Now, his own daughter was trending online, not because of the press, but because of his wife. Sources close to the couple say Harry had no idea Meghan planned to post it. He found out the same way the rest of the world did, through the screen. And when he saw it, something inside him snapped. This wasn't just an argument over a picture. It was about principle, about trust. For Harry, it cut deep. He's spent years fighting tabloids, suing publishers, and shielding his family from the same flashbulbs that haunted his childhood. Privacy isn't a slogan for him, it's survival. So when Meghan hit post, it wasn't just a betrayal. It was like watching the walls he built crumble in real time. Insiders say the confrontation was volcanic. Voices raised, phones slammed down, tears and disbelief. For Harry, it wasn't about Instagram. It was about the one thing he thought they both valued: protection. And for Meghan, it was the opposite. To her, visibility is protection. She grew up in the glare of Los Angeles. She understands the camera, and she's never been afraid of it. To her, the lens isn't a weapon, it's a tool. The fans call it empowerment. The critics call it performance. But to Meghan, it's survival of a different kind. A close source summed it up perfectly. She believes in being seen. He believes in staying safe. That's not a marriage. That's a countdown. This clash wasn't born from one post. It's the echo of years of tension building behind closed doors. Harry, still flinching at flashbulbs, believes in silence. Meghan, fluent in spotlight, believes in control. He built walls. She built a brand. And somewhere in between, their definition of love began to split. People who know them say Meghan sees Lilibet not just as her child, but as a symbol. The embodiment of her modern mother narrative. Every time she shares her daughter, she's not just posting a picture. She's shaping a message. "This world is yours," her caption said. And for her, it was about inspiration. But to Harry, it was exposure. The fight tore open wounds that had been quietly festering since their royal exit. It reminded Harry of every tabloid cover, every camera flash, every night his mother's name was used for clicks. He has lived his whole life trying to protect his family from that noise. And now that same chaos had walked back in, wearing a crown of hashtags. But here's where the story takes a darker turn. Because this wasn't the first time Meghan had tested that fragile boundary. Insiders whisper that the Instagram incident was only the latest round in a long string of misfires. Flash back to the Invictus Games, the one event closest to Harry's heart. When the tension between the couple reached a breaking point, Meghan quietly left early. And just hours after landing home, she posted about the kids. It was innocent enough on the surface, a sweet message about motherhood. But for Harry, it felt like betrayal disguised as love. That was the day, they say, the wall between them truly cracked. Since then, every public appearance has followed a pattern. The angles got tighter, the captions got sharper, and the focus, always, somehow, returned to Meghan. She began curating the narrative while Harry retreated into silence. The woman who once said she wanted a quiet life was suddenly the architect of her own spotlight. Friends say Meghan's connection to Lilibet burns with intensity, not favoritism, but symbolism. The child represents everything Meghan wants to be known for: resilience, independence, reinvention. Lilibet is her living mirror, her soft focus redemption arc. And each post, each glimpse, each word about her daughter isn't just affection. It's marketing genius wrapped in maternal pride. But in a house once built on promises of privacy, this strategy feels like betrayal. Because when privacy becomes the product, love becomes collateral damage. And that's exactly what's happening in Montecito now. Behind the manicured lawns and designer security gates, the power struggle has turned personal. Harry still believes he can protect his family through silence. Meghan believes silence equals invisibility. To him, it's safety. To her, it's irrelevance. The people closest to them describe their home as a fortress of contradictions. Cameras outside, distance inside. Conversations cut short, meetings held separately, teams divided. They still appear united in public, but insiders insist the tension is thick enough to touch. And while fans continue to romanticize their story, the prince who ran away for love, the actress who rewrote royal rules, the reality looks very different. Because love built on opposites can survive passion, but it rarely survives publicity. For Prince Harry, the world's glare has always been the enemy. For Meghan Markle, it's the fuel. And the night that photo went live, both realized one woman's empowerment had just become another man's nightmare. The arguments are louder now. The silence is longer, and the cracks? They're no longer invisible. The days after that Instagram post felt like living inside a PR hurricane. Prince Harry had barely recovered from the backlash when Meghan Markle made her next move. And this one, insiders say, was deliberate. Just 6 days later, she re-emerged in front of cameras head to toe in black Balenciaga, walking through a Los Angeles parking lot like a runway. It was supposed to be her grand comeback, the moment the world would say, she's back. But instead, the whispers were brutal. Because that same week, Harry had been publicly condemning social media and corporations for exploiting children. And here was Meghan, wrapped in the logo of a fashion house still crawling out from a child imagery scandal. To the casual viewer, it was just another celebrity photo op. To Harry, it was humiliation. He saw it as tone-deaf, even mocking. According to a friend, it looked like she was daring him to react. When he confronted her, things reportedly turned explosive. Harry couldn't understand how she could ignore timing, perception, symbolism, the very things he'd been trained to navigate his whole life. But Meghan didn't see the issue. To her, image is message, and the message was power. The argument left the house divided. Harry withdrew from calls and canceled a planned interview. Meghan, unfazed, doubled down on her image reboot. Next stop, Paris Fashion Week. And that's when everything spiraled. At first, the headlines made it sound glamorous. Meghan Markle invited to exclusive Balenciaga runway. The story fit perfectly with her narrative. Global, stylish, independent. But the truth didn't take long to surface. The brand's own creative director quietly admitted that Meghan hadn't been invited at all. She had invited herself. Messages were sent, favors were called in, and within days, her team had secured her a front row seat that didn't exist before. She arrived in Paris like a movie scene, bodyguards flanking her, cameras flashing, diamonds glinting under the streetlights. But when she took her seat, the whispers began. Fashion insiders described it as chaos wrapped in perfume. One publicist later said, "She didn't come for the show. She was the show." And that was the problem. Instead of headlines praising her elegance, the world saw desperation. Even Balenciaga's staff were reportedly frustrated, calling it a circus. Back home, Harry was livid, not because she went, but because she lied. For weeks, she'd told friends she'd been personally invited, that the brand had begged her to attend. When the truth broke, even her allies went quiet. One insider summed it up harshly. She can't stop. She needs the flash. And he's running from it.